Hello, fellow football connoisseurs, and welcome back to the Quick Take, and welcome back to the Premier League season. Chelsea kick it off with a loss at home to Manchester City. I'm sure a lot of you saw that coming. I did too. I was slightly hopeful, actually. Coming to this game, I had a little bit of a feeling that maybe Chelsea could do something here. Maybe Enzo Maresca has analysed, obviously, our pre-season heavy loss to Man City. He's made some tweaks. He's recognised the weaknesses, and he's ready to go again with a stronger and better side. We've added players like Cole Palmer's back from pre-season. We've got players like Pedro Neto now added to the squad. We've got Marc Gui, who's a fantastic addition up front. Players just kind of finding their feet. We've got obviously a new style of play, playing out from the back, more like focused on the ball and working in busy areas. You know, there's all this stuff going on. But Chelsea just really weren't able to get anything done against Man City. Man City, of course, are a side that wins games, and they know exactly how to win games. And we've seen that through the past, I don't know how many years now, when they've been winning league titles left, right, and centre, Champions Leagues, FA Cups, League Cups. They win everything, basically. So today, I think, is an interesting day when it comes to analysing Chelsea as a whole. Again, it is going to be the first game of the season. And this is a brand new manager with a completely brand new style of football who was trying a lot of radical stuff during pre-season. And only now are we going to see kind of what we actually want to try and implement for the rest of the season in terms of how we set up in-game against these big teams. And we didn't play terribly. I'm just going to say that now. We didn't play terribly. We held our own for a large portion of the match. Obviously, Man City had their numbers in terms of the level of quality in their players. They were more well versed in what they were supposed to be doing, whereas Chelsea is still learning this new kind of style of play, this Maresca ball. There's obviously a lot of young players on this side as well coming through. Lavia has just came back, although he's been fantastic. I mean, let's look at his stats from this game here. This coming from the Sportsman reported by Blue Dodgers. Romeo Lavia, 67 minutes played, 49 touches, 38 out of 39 passes made, 4 out of 7 duels won, 3 interceptions, and 1 big chance created. Fantastic performance from Romeo Lavia, a massive addition to Chelsea's midfield, who we signed last season, but of course missed out a lot of the season through Chelsea's injury crisis. But if Romeo Lavia is able to stay fit for the rest of the season, I think we could have quite a strong midfield, especially with him in there. The Belgian youngster is absolutely flying, and I'm sure Jurgen Klopp, although he's no longer at Liverpool, in fact, never mind, Jurgen Klopp probably doesn't care, but I'm sure Liverpool fans may be thinking, maybe we are a little bit annoyed, but a little bit more annoyed that we didn't manage to get Romeo Lavia over Moises Caicedo. But unfortunately, Romeo Lavia was one of the few good players who had a really stand-up performance. The only other player I can really think of was maybe Enzo Fernandez. I saw he made some really nice passes. He also gave away some reckless passes into the midfield for Man City to snatch up and regain possession and launch attacks. But at least he was trying something. Moises Caicedo, who was getting stuck in, obviously he got himself booked. Let's just actually go through the team sheets here right now. Robert Sanchez in net. Not too happy with Robert Sanchez. I'll get into that in just a minute. Cucurella, he had an okay game, but for the majority of it, obviously he was just outclassed by Man City's just presence and their overall quality. Levi Colwill and Wesley Fofana. Again, this is the first game of the season. There's going to be bumps to iron out, but they looked a little bit shaky in terms of how I thought they played. Malo Gusto, I thought he had a good game, but Malo Gusto is just quality all round. Caicedo and Lavia, I've already discussed them. Lavia, fantastic performance. And then we got Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez, Christopher Nkunku, and Nicholas Jackson. Cole Palmer, I actually think was quite quiet this game. Man City did well, keep him in quiet. I also think maybe he wasn't allowed to be as expansive and as creative and as dynamic as he was under Poch. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think, I think we can do well with fine-tuning Cole Palmer into that position, but I just think he was just a little bit just out of the game at times. He wasn't as involved as he would have been maybe last season. That's something to work on. And then Nicholas Jackson, he did what Nicholas Jackson does. He was waiting to receive the ball. He was offside a lot of chances he did get. He did put the ball into the back of the net, but he was offside for the chance he did. So Nicholas Jackson definitely needs to work on his positioning and just his on-the-ball ability and his finishing, really. There's a lot of things Nicholas Jackson needs to work on. And it really makes you think, those who think, we don't need to get a striker before the end of the summer transfer window. I think today is a perfect example of exactly why we need to get a world-class number 9 before the transfer window shuts, because we created a lot of chances. Let's have a look at the stats here. We created a lot of chances. Chelsea, in fact, had a higher XG than Man City. Of course, XG means nothing when you don't put the ball into the back of the net, but Man City had a 0.82 XG, whereas Chelsea had 1.23. So you'd be expecting Chelsea to have at least scored one goal, but we didn't. We didn't. And that is down to a number of players. It's not just Jackson, it's down to Palmer and Kunku, it's down to Enzo, it's down to the players who had shots and didn't put them away. We both had the same amount of big chances. Man City had one more shot, we had 10. In terms of passes, it was actually fairly similar. Again, Man City were winning that department with 527, but Chelsea weren't far behind with 479. Tackles 20 to their 16. Free kicks, they had 12, so we've given away more fouls. But I think this really goes to show that Chelsea really should have gotten a little bit more from this game. We had 10 shots, 3 on target, they had 11, they had 5 on target. So they were more prolific and they were more accurate in front of goal. And again, I think that comes down to players like Nicholas Jackson just not being clinical enough. I really think that bringing in a Victor Osimhen before the end of the summer transfer window is imperative to Chelsea's success this season and our hopes of getting top 4. Top 4 football is as a priority. I don't think we can afford to not get top 4 football. This is the second season in a row now where we started the season without a front of shirt sponsor. We've invested a lot into young players. We've bought a lot of players. Yes, we're selling players, but we're missing out massively on Champions League revenue whilst also having a smaller stadium than others and therefore having a lower matchday revenue. So we are missing out on quite a large stream of cash through us not being in the Champions League. And I really think us not getting Champions League football next season is going to have dire consequences for Chelsea going forward in terms of our financial situation and in terms of our squad situation. I think we'll be forced to sell a lot of players. So, as I said, bringing in a world-class number 9, not just relying on Nicholas Jackson, who can be inconsistent. Before we signed him from Villarreal, it wasn't like he was the most prolific striker in the world. He did score the majority of his goals in the final month of the season, where he scored, I think, was it 8 or 9, 7, 8, 9 on the bounce, basically, in like a few weeks. Obviously fantastic, but that's not a consistency that was held throughout the rest of the season. So I just think it's a little bit naive to try and rely on a striker like Nicholas Jackson, as I said, when there's so much riding on this season. And my Alexa's just talking to me for some reason. Sorry about that. But again, going back to the game, Chelsea did have chances, but they also made their mistakes. And that is, I think, what has plagued Chelsea for a while now. We are the curators of our own downfall. We make mistakes at the back. Sanchez was a bit sloppy at times, and we've seen last season him cost us games single-handedly. I mean, I'm just thinking about the Chelsea-Arsenal game where he played the ball directly to Declan Rice, and Declan Rice scored the goal that leveled it up and cost us all 3 points and a fantastic result against Arsenal. You know, it's moments like that that really harm Chelsea. And of course, with Enzo Maresca's style of play, the goalkeepers, they're very involved in the build-up play. And if you've got a goalkeeper in Robert Sanchez who is liable and you can't really rely upon to not make those kind of mistakes, I think Chelsea could be in trouble. Yes, we have Philip Jorgensen, but is Maresca going to be as cutthroat as to drop Sanchez after one game? I don't think he will be. And if he is, I'll be very surprised. And I think Jorgensen may be a better option in that ball-playing goalkeeper position than Robert Sanchez. Speaking of Chelsea's upcoming games, it's going to be fairly interesting to see how we get on. Next, we have Servette in the Conference League on the 22nd, and then we have Wolves away from home. Servette again, this time we're away from them, and then once we're back from that game, we have Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, Forest. So we can get some points on the table. We can get some momentum going after our tough game today against Manchester City. And again, we played against Man City. This is Pep Guardiola's Man City. Yes, this is the weakest they're ever going to be. It is the first game of the season, and they may still make some additions to the side in the final weeks of the transfer window. But of course, Chelsea could do that also. This was Chelsea's best chance, in my opinion, to get some points against Man City. We had chances, we could have taken them, we didn't. We weren't clinical enough, and we made mistakes at the back that led to goals from Haaland, that led to goals from Kovacic. I think we were quite poor at the back in terms of our defensive structure. If I remember correctly, Bernardo Silva was just in no man's land, able to just get a touch on the ball and just play it through to Haaland, just sitting in between Colwill and Fofana like it was nothing. No one was marking him. It was just easy for him just to play the ball to Haaland, and then Haaland does what he does best, bruises through the defenders and puts it away. And then for the Kovacic goal, it was, of course, Sanchez playing the ball out down the line, and then just a sloppy ball out from the back, straight to Mateo Kovacic, who runs through Chelsea's midfield and just gets a really good shot off and scores a fantastic goal. So Chelsea lose 2-0 to Manchester City. We do have a number of easier games coming up. Hopefully we can get some momentum going. Is this a worrying result? I'm not going to say so. I think it's very premature to say this is a worrying result. I think it obviously could have been better. I think it's really highlighted what Chelsea needs to do in the final weeks of the transfer window. Sign a world-class striker, because we are creating good chances. We had a higher XG, but we just don't have that person to get on the end of them and to put them away. Again, Man City can score 2 goals from an XG that's less than 1, whereas we can't score a goal from an XG that's higher than 1. Again, XG annoys people, that word, but it does mean something. It does mean something. But let me know your thoughts on the game in the comment section down below. As always, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe. I've been the Quick Take, and I'll catch you all on the next one. See you later.